For years, I've heard sobering stories from couples who attended Hope Restored, Focus on the Family's $3,000 to $6,000 marriage intensive that lasts 3 to 5 days. Many arrive absolutely desperate, told this is their last chance, and leave confused or discouraged. About half of them have told me that on the last day, they feel the same as before they came or worse. Let's look at what happens while you're there. How do we know what happens? We not only have past participants, but we also have their official Focus Marital Therapy manual. So I'm going to be quoting exact page numbers and exact quotes from their manual. Hope Restored Marriage Intensives attract desperate Christian couples, but they also strongly condemn divorce, not necessarily in the sessions, but they're owned by Focus on the Family, right? And Focus on the Family strongly condemns divorce and doesn't even condone divorce for domestic violence. Christian spouses in crisis often turn to Hope Restored because of their massive marketing machine that promises miraculous results. But the fine print tells a different story. The miracle isn't a safe and loving marriage. It's just better conversation. And they actually have to have 2 pages in this manual on how to shape or adjust the participants' expectations when they arrive so they aren't unrealistic. So what do people expect before attending Hope Restored? Through my extensive interviews and independent non-scientific surveys with literally hundreds of past participants of Christian marriage intensives, I've got a pretty clear view of what people go to marriage intensives for. Yeah, there are a tiny number, 1 or 2%, who go as newlyweds just to get their marriage started right, but the majority are in serious trouble. So let me tell you, based on my firsthand insight into why couples attend and what they hope to gain. Now, I'm not a licensed therapist, but after nearly 30 years in faith-based divorce recovery, as a church lay leader and administrator of my own private online community of over 6,000 Christians, my experience is more practical and people-centered. And for the attorneys out there, everything I share here and on my blog and in my book reflects my personal opinion and perspective. So let me show you this chart. The program promises to fix broken marriages on their website and all their marketing material, but their outcome is less common than people are led to believe, especially for those in relationships with domination, coercion, deception, and betrayal. And divorce might be needed in these cases to keep both adults and children safe. In the first column, you'll see what clients hope to get after spending a week and $6,000, usually having to take time off of work and get some childcare arranged. In the second column, I've listed what Hope Restore says it will deliver, along with the page number for reference. Column 3 is professional counseling standards. There is a sizable gap between client expectations and Hope Restored's claims, and they actually discuss that gap in the book. And they tell the therapist they're going to have to change the client's expectations when they get there. Maybe they should have told the clients in advance. What do you think? All right. So, for example, what the client expects, number 1, is pre-screening for safety and for abuse before admission. That is what professionals are supposed to do. But what Hope Restore claims to deliver is that admission is just based on your willingness to reconcile, not on safety screening. So let me give you an exact quote. I've shortened it. Focus Marital Therapy therapists do not advise or encourage people to divorce. We prefer they take their issue before the Lord for his determination and direction. Page 189. Then they say, if God were to perform a miracle, would you be willing to accept it? To be accepted into an FMT program, the answer must be yes. So even if you come with evidence of past abuse, restraining orders, evidence of medical injury, all of that is unimportant to them as long as you say you are willing and open for God to perform a miracle and you will accept it. Remember what I said about shifting the liability to the client? You just saw it happen. Okay. Number 2, safety protocols in place before the sessions began. Some of these people are there because their spouse berates them, yells at them, beats them, all kinds of things, lies to them, deceives even professionals. So what Hope Restored gives you is the safety is not discussed beforehand, but after the therapy starts. It's not insured before admission. Focus Marital Therapy therapists begin overtly discussing safety early in the initial sessions. You've already flown there. You've already paid your money, or at least agreed to it, or have a contract to pay it. Using orientation and informed consent intentionally and strategically. Great. Notice how they don't bring this up until page 200. It's more than halfway in this 350-page book. One of the top orientation priorities is that the client feels safe, heard, respected, cared for, and understood, but they're already there. They've already said they'd take a miracle. Wash your hands of it, I guess. The next thing, the third thing that client expects is a clear plan for abuse cases and trauma survivors. They want that abuse addressed. However, here's what Hope Restored says they'll give you. Abuse is acknowledged, but handled mainly by referral, not within a focused marital therapy setting. So they're not going to deal with it. They'll have to refer that out. They should have told you before you came, right? Yeah, I agree. Let me give you an exact quote. Marital therapy can intensify the cycle of abuse and should not be used in these cases. Victims are often safest if they enter individual therapy. Page 271, second half of the book. Guess it's too late now. You paid your money, you flew there, you arranged for babysitters, you took time off of work. Would have been nice to know in advance. Okay, sorry, I'm eye-rolling already. I find this to be exactly the opposite of what real abuse victims want. They wanted you to fix it for $6,000. They want to go home safe for $6,000. Number 4, a safety plan that prioritizes protection over reconciliation. Hope Restored will give you something a little bit different. Safety is treated as emotional comfort during conversation, not protective planning for the future. So a direct quote, as clients begin to feel safe, they naturally open up. Okay, so communication is their goal. They want you to clarify boundaries and your responsibility to hold those boundaries. If you could have held those boundaries, you wouldn't be here. If setting boundaries worked with your abusive spouse, you wouldn't even need to come to this. Number 5, a lot of people come because they want a neutral third party to look their marriage over. They want an evidence-based assessment. They're looking for clarity. Can this marriage be fixed or not? But that's not what Hope Restored gives you. Participation in Hope Restored depends on a faith test. Were you willing to hope for a miracle? Not clinical evaluation. So you've already seen where they just prefer that you take the divorce issue before the Lord, and to be accepted, the answer just has to be yes to God performing the miracle. They're not there to do an evidence-based assessment. Now, I do find that with Hope Restored, some people tell me that they got clarity at Hope Restored. So I do want to give them kudos for that. Number 6, clients want accountability measures for behavior change. Okay, if you've got a spouse who's been cheating on you, you want an actual plan. They need to cut off all contact with the affair partner. They need to reinvest in the marriage. They need to allow you to look through their phone. All kinds of other accountability measures. But that's not what Hope Restored gives you. According to Hope Restored, change is defined by their spiritual posture and creating reconciliation goals, not accountability goals, and not actual change. So let me give you an exact quote. If separation is prayerfully considered, a separation must involve crystal clear therapeutic objectives and the markers to be met before any separation is ended. That's a reconciliation goal. They don't give criteria for separating to protect your safety. That's not an accountability goal for the long term, for the rest of your life. They're missing what the client really wants, a loving, respectful, and safe marriage. They don't want to just get back together and have the whole cycle start again. Now let's look at number 7. This is a really common expectation for clients. Screening for narcissism or any other kind of personality disorder. But guess what? No formal screening for personality or control dynamics is described in this entire 350-page manual. Their focus remains on you setting your boundaries, you guys communicating, and mutual responsibility. There is no diagnostic assessment recommended in this book. Number 8, clients really want support when it becomes evident to everyone that there's an elephant in the room and divorce is going to be the only safe option. But no, why would Hope Restored support you even in the face of genuine abuse when they have a big marketing claim to defend? They want to claim that 80% of marriages are saved through their program. They aren't going to help you safely exit this marriage. Those who choose divorce after seeing no path to reconciliation are quietly released without any aftercare or any safety plan for recovery. And here's the exact quote: spouses determined to exit are referred to other resources for marriage dissolution therapy. Yeah, get those people off your books. Make sure that they aren't included in your later surveys because they never finished the program. I'm sorry, my cynicism is coming through. Doesn't this just get you? Number 9, clients want evidence-based trauma recovery interventions. So a lot of these people have been in these marriages for years. Their mental health is destroyed. Their physical health is destroyed. They've got autoimmune diseases. They want help. They want help to recover. They're anticipating the Hope Restored will do that miracle that they were promising and will make this marriage safe, loving, and respectful. And they want to get to the point where they can sleep at night, but they've got complex PTSD, and that's just not happening. So let's see what Hope Restored does. Relief techniques for the victim are primarily prayer forgiveness based. You didn't need to pay Hope Restored $6,000 for that. You could just go to the prayer and share group at your church. You don't need to be taught how to pray, God, please calm me down on page 117. Basically, there's nothing for the victim to put the victim in the pathway to health and healing, except for prayer and forgiveness. All right, number 10. The client really expects transparent results and measurable success rates before they sign up, but the results are described in spiritual and emotional terms. They're going to get improved communication, softening of posture. Hey, Hope Restored, they don't want that. They want a safe, loving, and respectful marriage. So basically, it's come for the miracle and leave with some communication skills. Now, to be fair to Hope Restored, a lot of people like their communication skills, and I'm a huge believer in communication skills. I use the negotiating skills I learned in the business world in my marriage today. They are really valuable, and they make conflict so much easier to resolve. But in the Restoring Hope manual, the authors acknowledge that couples arrive at Hope Restored with these powerful expectations. They come desperate, told this is their last chance, believing they're about to witness a miracle, that God will use this $6,000 weekend to save their marriage. But the fine print tells a different story. The miracle isn't a safe and loving marriage. It's just better conversation. And they actually have to have 2 pages in this manual on how to shape or adjust the participants' expectations when they arrive so they aren't unrealistic. In practice, that means that couples who came for help fixing betrayal, addiction, or abuse are quickly redirected to work on communication skills and self-responsibility. This manual warns therapists to reframe clients' goals toward what they can control, meaning their own attitudes, not their partner's harmful behavior. If you benefited from this recording, you will find support and clarity in my book, The Life-Saving Divorce, available in paperback or Kindle or audiobook on Amazon. You can also follow me, Gretchen Baskerville, online at lifesavingdivorce.com or on Facebook, Blue Sky, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. You can sign up for my email list at lifesavingdivorce.com. Women and men of faith may request to join my private online Facebook group, Life Saving Divorce Private Group. For more on life-saving divorces, please subscribe and click the link to the next recording.